Hi, and welcome back to my channel. It's another floss tube video, and I hope that you've all had a very healthy, stitchy September so far. I've been enjoying watching your floss tube videos, and I really appreciate and thank you for coming back and spending your time to watch mine. I think the last video I made was August 31st, and so it's been kind of a little while since I've updated my stitching. It's been kind of a busy first 2 weeks of September. My granddaughters went back to school, and I don't know, it's just been busy, and I haven't felt that good this month so far. It's been a migraine week or so, so I'm feeling better, and I thought I would update you on how my stitching has gone. And I have to say it's been a pretty good month so far, progress-wise. I'm pretty happy with it anyway. And so let's get started. I think the first thing I'm going to show you are my first two new starts for this month. On September 1st, the sale on Stitch Mania was Land of Pure Imagination, and of course that brings Willy Wonka to mind and the Chocolate Factory, but I went with the Joan Elliott Bewitching Cross Stitch book. I had just ordered it and received it used from Amazon a month or so ago, and there's quite a few patterns in here I wanted to try. And since September is also Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, like I was talking about in my last video for I Heart Cross Stitch, I also wanted to pick something that would go along with Go Gold for Charlotte, because this is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So I picked a dancing unicorn from this book. And it has a gold horn and some gold bits in it. And so I sat down and I started stitching that pattern. And it went pretty well. I had a few issues. I used the fabric that I had dyed myself, and it was kind of dark. And so when I first started, I realized I didn't have purple Krennic. So what I did is I went with some, I think it was purple DMC, and then I had some blue high luster Krennic that I mixed with it. And I can bring you in a little bit. And I think this is the reins on the unicorn. And then of course I stitched gold for Gold for Charlotte, but I used a gold embroidery floss, a DMC gold, rather than the Krennic gold braid. And I really like the Krennic gold braid better. So I'm actually considering ripping this out and stitching it over. And then when I got to the white didn't show up, so I ripped the white out. And for white, I used a combination of 2 strands of white and 2 strands of, let's see if I can find it here quickly. 2 strands of, get it out of the bag, the B5200. So 2 strands of Blanc and 2 strands of A5200. And I kind of like the way that's coming out. I think it's going to be really cute. So that's my Land of Pure Imagination for the monthly sale on Stitch Mania and on Go Gold for Charlotte, which I am hashtagging Go Gold for Charlotte to Instagram. And And my other new start for September, I'll just put that down there, was the Star Trek sale, also on Stitch Mania, and I'm doing the red shirt, which I don't have a picture of here, but it's in a book by John, I think it's Lohan, and I searched high and low for 2 days for that book. I was driving myself crazy and my family crazy. And then I realized I bought it on Amazon as a Kindle download. So when I figured that out, I found it on my Kindle. And then, of course, I had a problem because I couldn't figure out how to print from the PDF on my Kindle. So I had to ask my son. And luckily, he's staying with me for a couple of weeks. And he's pretty good at that kind of stuff. So he did manage to print the chart out for me. And this is where I stand with the red shirt, the expendable. And actually, this was a really quick stitch. It went along like pretty much nothing flat. And all I really have left to stitch is the red shirt down the body, the arm, and the insignia on the chest. And that will be completed. And this is also on fabric that I dyed myself. I think I used ice dye, and it's the periwinkle and some like powder blue dye. And it came out pretty good. And it's 18 count Aida. I'm an Aida person because I can see the boxes pretty easy, and I'm just going for an easy stitch, and so I really like Aida. Let's see, I've kind of got progress on everything this month. I didn't go back to Somebody to Love to add the alphabet that I want to add to the pattern. It's not part of the pattern, but I talked about that in my last video. I did pull out a couple of alphabet books I have, excuse me, and I looked online to see if I could find an alphabet that I liked, and I did find an alphabet on bettercrossstitchpatterns.com, and it was the alphabet 01, and I did print it. So I have that as one of my choices, and then I also have Leisure Arts, the Treasury of Alphabets for Counted Cross Stitch. And I also have Better Homes and Gardens Plain and Fancy Alphabets. And I've had these in my collection for decades. I've had these probably since they were issued. So I'm going to be looking through those to see if I can come up with an alphabet that works to go along with just an I love you sentiment that I will put on my Somebody to Love project. And one of my other whips that I pulled out to work on in these last 2 weeks was my, get it out here, Nora Corbett design, Gwen. I'm really enjoying Gwen. She's a pretty easy stitch. I probably haven't been working on her as much or as often as I should, because she would probably be pretty easy to just finish. But I've actually gotten pretty far with her. I think I've added all the back of the dress, and then I've been putting in all the green and some of this black. So she's coming along really well. Like I said, she's a pretty easy stitch. And again, this is 18 count Aida that I hand dyed myself with some black tie-dye and some gray tie-dye. So she's coming along good, and I'm really enjoying her. And then, let's see, I also worked on my hate a little bit, and that is, let me get my picture, the garden shed, which is this Hade. It's a large format print that I received in the mail from Heaven and Earth Designs, and it has all the cats in a very cluttered garden shed. And I'm enjoying it. I'm working it on Magic Guide fabric that I also ordered from Heaven and Earth Designs, and I've never used this fabric before, and I do like it. And while it doesn't look like I've gotten much further on this, I've actually put in quite a bit. And you can see that this is actually a watering can that's coming in here. I haven't done the stitching in it. I don't park. I tried it and I don't really like it. but this is more how I stitch. It's just kind of a cross-country method. I don't know if it's a Dutch method. Don't know. I kind of taught myself how to cross-stitch when I was probably preteen, so who knows exactly what it's called. It's the Kelly Bell method. And then there is my Queen of Hearts, my Jim Shore Queen of Hearts that I'm doing for my sister-in-law for a Christmas gift. Now at this point, I can say that my dad's home with my brother and my sister-in-law, and he's doing well. But it looks like he's not going to be able to go on a cruise in October that they had planned to go on. So I'll be going back down to Florida for 2 weeks to stay with my dad, probably, while they go on the cruise. And so I'm kind of going to keep this stitch and work on it down in Florida. And this is where the Queen of Hearts is right now. And as you can see, I did a little bit of the pink at the bottom. I still have to fill in the rest of that ocean of beige. But the top is coming in pretty good. I put her eyes in, but now they look pretty freaky. But that's what that looks like. And a lot of this is beads. Like to fill in the Q is mostly beads, and the empty spaces in the hearts are beads. So this is a Mill Hill type of Jim Shore, and it's bead laden. So I'm having fun stitching this, though. It does stitch up really well. I've made a couple of mistakes, but it's okay. And this kit came with the 18 count, I think, beige Ada. And that's what I'm using. And then, let's see. I think I've gotten myself through most of my whips, except for my favorite one. I have to say, I really am enjoying my Three Wise Men. I've worked on this pretty consistently, just trying to get out the picture to show you of what it will look like when it's finished. And this is a picture that does not do this justice. This is all silver and gold Krennic, and it is beautiful. And it's number 8. And I made a mistake and placed an order with 1, 2, 3 stitch, and I ordered number 4. I think when it comes, I may try putting that in as the border, but I may order more number 8 to continue the inside of the picture, because I really like the way the number 8 looks on this. And you can see how beautiful this is. The colors are just so great. I think I've finished all 3 of the turbans are done. I have to put more of the gray and stuff into his beard. But when I get down to the robes, I mean, there's a lot of Krennic in the robes. It's all gold and silver. But they are beautiful. And the back stitching is going to make those faces pop out. And I've got this silver and aqua colored box, and then this gold box. It's just beautiful. And these empty spaces in the cowl of his robe are silver. I mean, it's beautiful. I love this design. And let's see, I think that's it for my stitching. For me, that's a lot of progress, because I'm a fairly slow stitcher, but I've really been enjoying myself. It was really hot the last week, and so it was kind of nice to be able to sit and stitch where it was cooler. I've stitched a couple of days out on my back deck, which was lovely. The dogs appreciated it because they laid out there with me. A couple of cats came to visit, so that's always fun. And now it's cooling off. You can kind of feel fall coming in the air, at least for today. And it's all been good. So now I'm just going to share a couple of things that I bought in the last couple of weeks. I haven't bought much. I do have an order from 1, 2, 3 Stitch coming, but it's mostly Krennic threads. I did win a couple of eBay. I won an eBay auction for one pattern, and I ordered a pattern, buy it now, on eBay. And that was I bought the Santa's sleigh, the Nora Corbett Santa's sleigh, and I got Rudolph. Rudolph is the bid I won. And then I'm going to get the rest of the reindeer patterns and do them, because I'd like to hang them from the, I have a beam in one of my ceilings downstairs, and I think they would look really pretty hung from a faux evergreen bough I put up. I'm just going to dangle them. I think that they'll look really cool for Christmas. Not this year, probably, but in the coming years. So I also bought the Cross Stitcher magazine that has the camper on the front. I love that. I think that is so cute. And it has a mermaid pattern in it. And it has these, of course, summer cat cross stitches, the quick stitches. And I think those might make cute summer magnets for my refrigerator. Not that I've switched my magnets out. I still have some magnets that have been up there since my kids were in school. But every now and then I think it's time for a change. So I also bought used on Amazon, I think, this Joan Elliott Christmas cross-stitch treasures that's put out by Annie's Cross Stitch. And it has a bunch of Joan Elliott Christmas designs in it. And here's the back of it. So I just love these. I don't know that I'll ever get to most of it, but it's beautiful. I'm really enjoying looking at it. And it has the 12 Days of Christmas, Joan Elliott's 12 Days of Christmas here, that I think is just amazing. So these are the two patterns I was waiting for from 123 Stitch that the shipping kept getting pushed back on, but they're well worth waiting for. And I bought these mostly for the colors. This is Pretty Little New York, and being a New York kind of girl, I had to have that. Of course, I'm from the big part of New York, not that little part of New York with the big buildings. I'm from the big open space New York. You say you're from New York and everybody immediately thinks Manhattan. And even New York City isn't just Manhattan. New York City has 5 boroughs, and they aren't all Manhattan. But New York State is huge. Not as big as Texas, but big. And I also got this elephant biscornu, which I think will be my next start. I don't know when I'm going to start it, but this is probably going to be my next start because I love it and I really want to try making a biscornu. And Satsuma Street, Jody Rice, she uses some of the best colors. I think it's the color that attracts me to her work the most, is the color. The modern art perspective is really pretty. So that's it for me, and my whips and my starts and my plans are just to continue the way I've always done. I stitch on what I feel like stitching. I'm probably going to be going to Florida in the middle of October, so about a month from now. And Wally's scratching at my door. He wants to come in. Yes, McKenna, I have a Wally too. But my Wally does not look like your Wally. My Wally is, I showed him in one of my previous videos. He's a black and tan dachshund looking mix that's mixed with a Jack Russell Terrier, like Terry's Jack. So, and he's a terror. He's my baby though. Let's see. Oh, I was going to do Orietta Stitch, put a 3-question tag out there, and it was 3 questions about travel stitching. And since when I travel, I usually wind up traveling to see either my children or my father or my brothers. So in October I'll be going to Florida, most likely. And then in November I'm probably going to wind up going to Arizona to visit my daughter, my son-in-law, and my grandsons. And so I always take a project with me. And this time I will probably take my cross stitching. This is the daughter that the last time I was at her house we each bought the same cross stitch magazine, and we are doing the same project to switch, and that's Some Bunny to Love. So this time I will take projects with me. I'm going to take a bigger suitcase because I will probably pack it, we'll check it into my luggage. Things I will take with me are my cheaters. These are just, dollar store magnifying glasses that I use when my eyes are tired to stitch. I will take my travel light with me, which is this one, and I can't remember who showed this, but I bought it off Amazon as soon as I saw it because it has the 3 levels of light, and it has a USB charger, and it works wonderfully well. It clips just about everywhere, and you can even clip it down like that and then put it out or up or however you need it, which I think is wonderful. Turn it off. And then I have my travel bag that I showed the last time, which is basically a lunch bag. It has the zipper, plastic lined bottom pouch, and in that pouch I have a sewing kit. And in my sewing kit I have some needles, packages of needles, and I have a piece of felt to put my needles on if I'm not using them, if I don't put them back in the package. I have a portable tape measure. I have a disappearing ink pen. It has an eraser on one end for the color, and it has the color on this end. I have this little container that has needles in it. I have this plastic, I think it was, I don't even know what it was. I think this was, it says it's PLU Vitamin C Dental Gum, natural citrus flavor, and I have a feeling it's got to be very old. It's just the plastic container. Let me put this down somehow. That's what happens when you don't sit at a table, I guess, to do this. So it's just a plastic container that opens up, and inside I have some needles I was using. It has a piece of felt in the bottom. There's a couple of just regular sewing pins in there, and a needle threader. And that's in this other case with all this other stuff I was talking about. There's a lot of stuff in here. There is some Thread Heaven, more needles, quilting pins, a chalk marker, beading needles and Nymo thread, some beeswax, another piece of felt with a small applique needle. So basically I have a lot of miscellaneous stuff that I carry around in this little box, and it's been my little travel box for more years than I care to tell, which is probably why it has such a wide assortment of sewing things in it. And I am not going to get this back in here the way I had it, because it does close up very nicely, and it all fits into the bottom section of here. And generally I put my sewing scissors, my little embroidery scissors, go, just a second, they're over here. So my scissors go in that box too. And then in the top section, which also zips, that's all in this bottom section here. And then in the top section is my needle keeper that I made. And then I have this little Madonna and Child, and it's it's actually probably vintage pin keep, where it's got like felt in between cardboard pieces, and it just has pins pushed into it. That's in there. I probably could fold up some of my patterns, not my patterns, my working pieces, fabric, and put in there to carry it. My floss. Yeah, pen, colored pencil, because I mark my charts with colored pencil. And then, so that's pretty much the tools I travel with. I travel with a lot of stuff, hopefully in a fairly small space. And then the next question too is, what is your favorite project to bring on your trips? Well, I'll bring any of my projects on trips, because like my Haid even, I'm stitching it in hand. Gwen, my Nora Corbett Gwen, I'm stitching in hand. And my Dancing Unicorn I'm stitching in hand. And the Star Trek one I'm stitching in hand. So I really don't have to worry too much about a frame, because I am comfortable stitching in hand. So yeah, I bring the things that are striking my fancy at the time. Generally, I wouldn't bring my Haid, although that might go in my suitcase. But like at night, if I can't sleep, I'll sit and work on something like that. If it's actually traveling, like in a plane, something smaller that isn't too count heavy, with something that has blocks of colors. I would rather, if I'm traveling and doing something like that, it would have to be something not too complicated. My camera shut off. But I'm back. So yeah, something not too complicated to actually travel. In my bag, I pack whatever I think I might want to work on. And when I'm gone for 2 weeks, it's going to be a few projects. So I have some variety. And then number 3, what are your most indispensable tools to bring to help you stitching on a trip? It would be my travel bag and all those tools I mentioned, which are pretty much everything I use, and my magnifiers. Other than that, I really don't need much of anything. I'm always happy to have my phone or my laptop or my Kindle with me. Other than that, the world today has gotten small, and everything is at your fingertips when you have an electronic device. So if all else fails, I can do a pattern off my Kindle or an e-reader of some sort. So as long as you have floss and needle and some fabric, I think we're good to go. So that's what I take on a trip. Yeah. So I think that's it for me. While he's getting anxious and I have to go see what he wants, let him in and pet him a little bit so he can see that he's not missing anything. And until next time, I hope that you have a very colorful, stitchy, stress-free time. And thank you for spending your time with me. I hope that you like and subscribe and enjoy my video. And I'll be back, hopefully, next week, maybe, with an update. Maybe even a new start. You never know.